Good morning, everyone. On behalf of D.Y. Patil University School of Pharmacy, Navi Mumbai, I, Dr. Rakesh Somani, the principal of the college, welcome each one on this platform. Today, on 18th July, this Saturday, we are starting a very interesting discussion, a webinar on career opportunities, particularly in the abroad after pharmacy, and how one can enter into pharmaceutical industry abroad. And we have a very eminent speaker today, that is Mr. Jitendra Keshav Mahajan, very fondly known by his friends and peers as JK. So I'm really glad to have Mr. Jitendra Mahajan here on this platform for two reasons. The one, that he's an accomplished human being, also very good accomplished professional, and second, which is more important, that he's my friend and my senior also in my undergraduate course during my college. And so that gives me a dual pleasure, in fact, to welcome you, Jitendra Mahajan, here on this platform. I'm also, thankful to all the students, the faculty members, as well as my peers who have been actually attending this session on Facebook, as well as on various platforms. So just to start this session formally, I would like to introduce our speaker. As you see the slide, a very beautiful slide, which is depicting the entire persona of our speaker, which says that his total year of experience, close to 17, 18 years. And also, he's a very good athlete, always like cycling, running, and lot of traveling he does. He is a family person and lot of experience into quality control, quality assurance, manufacturing, and so forth. I think without taking any much more time further, I would like to hand over this session to our speaker, Mr. Jitendra Mahajan. And my dear students, let us make this session as a kind of interactive session, because where speaker is going to share his experiences also. Along with it, he is going to share certain important tips to all of you, which will help you to understand how one can take the career opportunities in the abroad, particularly after the pharmacy course is completed. And so, Mr. Jitendra Mahajan, I welcome you once again on this platform, and over to you, please. Sadakaji, you can de-share this slide. Yeah.
So shall I share my slides now?
Please.
Okay, yeah. Are you able to see the slides?
Yes.
Yeah, so I will start with the same slide, but before that, yeah, thank you, Dr. Somani, and also D.Y. Patil University College School of Pharmacy for inviting and giving me opportunity to speak to the students as well as the faculty members on this very interesting topic. So today, I'm actually going through with all of you my journey as well as some of my experiences. But most importantly, I'm going to share with you some of the tips or some of the information that can be useful for you if you are interested to enter or go overseas for the pharma career. Okay. But before I start, I have some disclaimers also to make here. First thing, I'm not a placement agent here, so I'm not selling any jobs or anything. It's just a purely one of your seniors. You can call me as big brother, uncle, whatever. But yeah, from that point of view, I'm going to share all this experience. Right. Second disclaimer, it's a little bit nuances. My house, the top house is having some renovation. I requested them not to have any drilling work during this session. But yeah, in case if there is any, so I apologize for that in advance. Okay. So without further ado, let me begin with that. My experience, and first thing, let me introduce you myself. As you can see on the slide, I have started my career with GSK in India, in Nasik plant, basically for aseptic manufacturing. And I'm going to go through very briefly on this thing because we have a lot of time to spend on the major topic. Okay, but if you are interested to know me more, please message me via personal chat or whatever, I will be more happy to share all this. Okay. After GSK, I actually came to Singapore in 2003, and I actually joined the company called Sharing later, it was being taken over by MSD. Okay. I worked there in the field finish plant for a drug product, which is a biological substance. And then I also work in the same company in tableting department and the inhaler production as well. Later on, I actually started working in Baxter. It was a biologics plant of Baxter. They were setting up the very brand new plant here, right from the greenfield. And we actually managed successfully to complete all our projects. And then after that, started the commercial facility, then completed all the inspections, the FDA, EMEA, and all major inspections. Successfully completing all that journey, 4 years later, I got opportunity to work in Amgen Biologics. That is also the similar stage. There was a greenfield, and yeah, we started from the scratch. Okay, so all the while, my experience that was majorly in a drug product and drug substance in biologicals manufacturing, and plus the QA elements of all of this manufacturing. Right. So that was my working experience. Together with Singapore, I also got a chance to work 6 months 2 times in US with attachment of these 2 companies, Baxter as well as Amgen. So I will share more about that also in the later slides. Okay, in terms of my family, yes, I have 2 children, a son and a daughter with my beautiful wife. Okay, which I know her since very long time before my marriage. Okay. For my likes, as Dr. Somani mentioned, yes, I am very athletic person. Although, yeah, I love jogging, and that was from the school days and also from the college days. I do love cycling. I do cycle every weekend, and I love travels because of the job or because of the leisure. So whatever reason, I love traveling. Also, I love movies, and particularly Bollywood movies. I don't miss them. Okay, I'm very family person. I like to stay at home also and spend time with family. So that was very brief about me. Okay. Currently, I'm working in Amgen, as I mentioned, as a title of mine is a quality senior manager quality, and looking after the learning and performance team. Okay. Previously, I worked as a manager in manufacturing in the same company. Okay, but yeah, currently I am in the quality. So that's my quick job profile and about me. So without further ado, let's move on. So reasons to go overseas. Definitely, if our today's topic is career opportunities for abroad, right? So definitely there should be the reasons. Okay. And I have put up these reasons. There might be more than these reasons, but these are mostly people have the reasons to go overseas. Uh, First thing is the advanced technology in manufacturing or operations department, or in terms of the systems or equipments. So I have some examples to share with you here. Single-use system, that is something in the majority of pharmaceuticals or biologics manufacturing. This is getting very popular. Uh, as you guys are studying currently, you might have heard about the bioreactors, the stainless steel tanks, and in the practical world, every after other batch, we need to clean and sterilize those equipments before we start the next batch. The benefit of this single use is basically you do not need to clean and sterilize. You just change the bag, it's a plastic bag, you just change it and install the new bag, you're good to go for the next batch. So that is very beautiful new system that is everyone is picking up now. High speed filling machines. Yes, in the past, when I was working in GSK, we used to have a very slow filling machine, the 8-head filling machine for pharmaceutical injections. But nowadays, it's very high tech, high speed filling machines and very automized. Okay, most of the systems are automized, very less human movements are required or labor intensive jobs are required. Okay, and those technologies are adopted by majority of the pharma companies. Second reason is work culture. Definitely, if you ask me, my experience, I would say that yes, there is a respect at the job. So it doesn't matter what level you are, whether you're a technician or whether you're a senior manager, director, or whatever, you always have a respect, similar respect. work-life balance. So what I experience is, yeah, the most of the companies now giving focus on this point, work-life balance. They are supporting their staff in terms of the flexi hours and flexi working. And also, if let's say some of the people have issues for a short period of time that they cannot come to the work, they also allow working from home. Of course, now we are in this situation that everyone has to work from home, but before this situation, there was still a possibility of working from home for some people. It's an open work environment. So as you can see, one of my picture I'm saying here at the bottom, literally this is the environment that most of the companies are adopting. So there is no cabin for a director or any boss. Everyone sits together with everyone. So you can reach to the advantage of this system is you can reach to anyone without any appointment, without any hesitation, right? So that's open culture. Another thing I noticed and I experience is no biases. As long as you work hard and you have a positive and good attitude, you will grow ladders. Okay. And then third and important point is exposure to the multiracial culture. So if you go to the abroad or overseas, it's not only Indians. You will see many citizens or many nationalities and many cultures over there. So these are the few reasons that you can, yeah, you can think to go for abroad. Uh, I know there is one reason that I did not put purposely because, and that's the most important, I think, at this point of time, which is money, right? So I understand that, but that is not a point that I am saying. So if you want to become a successful in a life, at one particular point of your stage of life, money doesn't really matters. Then you start like after everything established, you start looking for friends, you start looking for time with your family and all those things. So that is why that is something that I have not put on this slide, but that is also another important aspect. Okay. These are the various roles or designations that you can enter into the pharma industry and abroad. So like same as in India, in manufacturing operations, you can start with the technician, supervisory level, or engineers level, or managers level. So depending on your experiences and all those things. But just sharing my experience here, when we actually being hired by Sharing who came over there to hire us, their specific requirement was to have a bachelor's degree in pharmacy as well as or bachelor's degree in science, right? So they definitely expect the bachelor's degree. And also the jobs that we got was starting from lead technician. So it was a lead technician job, and then some of us were having a long experience, like, and they were having a manager position here, and they were being hired as a supervisor there, right? So yeah, I mean, I want to be very honest and truthful with you. We in India, we may have higher positions in the pharmaceutical industry, but if you want to apply for abroad and for job, definitely they will not give you the exactly equivalent or similar positions, right? So, but yeah, that's something that if you are hardworking, you will definitely get to that position in a short period of time. There are other areas like research and development. If you are a scientist, if you are like PhD and completed your doctorate, that's another area that you can explore and enter into. There are many scientists are required in R&D. And okay, another experience that in the overseas, like I'm in currently Singapore, and also experience from my US experience, there are very few scientists that starts and work into the pharmaceutical industry. So definitely they are lacking of scientists, and they're waiting for the other national scientists to join them. Okay. A quality control laboratory. This is another area that I would say that a microbiologist, particularly the microbiologists, I mean, the pharmaceutical industries in abroad lack of microbiologists, and definitely they are looking for a microbiologist or a person who has microbiology background in whatever course course of graduation. They will definitely look forward for this person. Another area is regulatory and compliance. This is also one of the area where they are looking for the people from abroad or from overseas. So this is another area you can try it out. Okay, so when we talk about abroad or overseas, it's a very wide thing, right? It's other than India, any country. But this is something that I put up here, my recommendation or my suggestion that you should be choosing to, if you are really keen to go abroad. In America, definitely USA or Canada. In Europe, there are large potential or large opening for pharmaceutical professionals in Ireland, because of the taxation system. They have changed the taxation there. The Ireland government is giving a 10 years free tax for the new setup, and that is why majority of the pharma industries are going and setting up the plants there. Germany is another country that you can look forward for. Switzerland, yeah, there is another country where there are many established companies, one manufacturing unit there. Just later I will share some more about Switzerland as well, and England too. Okay. In Southeast Asia, if you are looking something near to the home, then you have a better choice as a Singapore, Taiwan, and Malaysia. So I can talk hours and hours about Singapore, but yeah, this is not about Singapore here. But yes, this is another good place that you can look forward. Australia and New Zealand. So these are another two countries that you can look forward. There are many other pharmaceutical companies also looking for the people from outside and the skills, the pharmaceutical professionals and the pharmacy skilled people. Middle East, Dubai is a better place, and Saudi is also another place that you can explore. There are many companies, but I have put there a majorly known companies. So this is another thing that you need to be considering when you are applying for abroad or taking a job. If you are getting in multinational or big companies like this, your career is safe and is secured, right? If you are if you are getting something other company which are local companies, then yeah, it's same as our Indian local companies, right? So, but in India, you can still switch the job. You are well secured by family and well surrounded by your own people. But in abroad, it's different story and different ball game altogether, right? So you have to be little careful when you are choosing your company or your industry to enter with. Okay, how to go then? What are the different possible ways or routes to enter into the abroad industry of pharmacy? So I have put few here, but there might be many than these. First and foremost is definitely if you are keen to do further studies like your master's or doctorate after you complete your degrees, bachelor's in India. This is the best opportunity. So you can get your master's from any country that you want to start your career with, and then you stay there. Definitely, there is a guaranteed job, okay, for those people. Or if you continue and complete your degree from, let's say, USA, and you want to look for the job in Singapore or Australia, you have a higher chances getting the opportunity. Another way is you start with some Indian company, reputed Indian companies. Like I have put some examples here: Mylan, Biocon, Novartis, BD, GSK, and they have a job rotation program. So internally, these companies have the setup in overseas, and at one point of time, definitely they rotate their people. And yes, if you are really keen, you can go through this route as well. Another way is to go through the reputed placement agencies. So I put there two which are known to me, and we hired the most. These two. First is the TechniSearch. Is based in Chennai, and I actually engage with them twice to hire people from India. And there is another Global Hunt India, which is based in Delhi. But there are many more than these two. Okay, these are the two that I encountered, and I find they are genuine. So that's why I put the names there. Okay. Or another way is to apply directly on the company web portal. So what does that mean? If you go to any company portal, and you will find that the jobs, job seekers, or you will find some jobs available tab there. If you go there, you just need to register yourself, and then you apply and submit your resume. So based on my experience, when I hire people for MGen, I do look for the job portal applicants as well. Okay? So there are possibility that you will get picked up from them. Or if you have a referrals at overseas, like your relatives, your friends, whoever that you know, and they are working in pharma, or even they are not working in pharma, but they know someone in pharma, this is somewhere that you can ask them to refer to you, and that's another way that you can get job. Or apply via advertisement in newspaper or job websites, like Times of India. They have a job one, I think Saturday or Sunday. They have a whole job attachment. And all the websites like Naukri.com, monsterindia.com. Yeah, these are also websites that they offer the overseas opportunities. So these are all possible routes that you can actually go and take. Okay. And most important thing, before you actually consider to go for abroad and seek the abroad opportunities, these are the things that I request you to really think about. First and foremost, visa. So family visa, I mean, if you're married, then yeah, it's good to see if they are providing you the family visa or not. Because many countries, some requirement of that country's regulations, they may not allow you to bring the families. Okay. So you have to really careful and check that. So I'm talking from Singapore point of view. So very few people get family status visa in the first go. Same thing for Dubai. In USA, that's a different story. They do allow a family to come, but then the problem in US is your spouse is not allowed to work. And if she's not allowed to work, and only your own income, it may or may not be sufficient to survive. So cities like Los Angeles or state like California are super expensive. And that is why I'm suggesting you have to be very careful. Where is the location of your job, and what is the expenses over there? So yes, the visa is important. The second thing is, of course, the earning. So what are you going to earn after taking the job? First thing, you need to look for in-hand salary. They may give you a good CTC package, but then, yeah, it may not be in your hand. So you have to check what is in-hand salary that you are taking every month. Okay? After that, check the country's taxation system, because your tax applies to your in-hand salary, right? So based on my knowledge, the European countries are very heavily taxed. They charge very heavy tax on the employees. So, for example, in Austria, a friend of mine is saying that they get charged 45%, right? But then, yes, of course, the government do provide all kind of facilities like your medical, your children education, everything is being taken care. So yeah, you need to think about that also. So if you are ready for that tax, and you are like being taken care by government, that's fine. But no, if you want to take care of your own people, own family, and you want to pay the tax, you have to be, yeah, you have to be mindful about these things. Average cost of the living. So that is particularly for the context of Singapore. I would say that, yeah, you have to take note of that, because the cost of living here is really expensive and very high. So yeah, you have to do your little bit of the homework before you accept the offer. Check with your friends or relatives, or there are many available resources that you can check. Okay. There are some social factors that you should be considering as well, like multicultural versus dominating culture. So some of the countries, they are really open cultures, like Dubai. a very open culture. Singapore, very open culture. US, very open cultures. But there are some countries which are very dominating culture. Like one culture is really dominating, and you are forced to follow the rules of that culture. If you're fine with that arrangement, then it's good. But if you're not, then that might be a displeasure for you. So you have to consider that as well. Another element of discrimination. So this is the important aspect. So many countries, they do have a discrimination, and there's a hidden part of every company, every industry, and every country. Okay, but the only thing that you need to gauge is how much is the discrimination. So if it is very minor or minute level, then that's fine. But if it is a very high level discrimination, you will likely get impacted by that. Because, again, these are the hard facts. But if we are coming from India and taking the jobs of those people, of course, the countryman over here will be unhappy because they are losing the job, or they will lose the opportunity to get the job for their people. So discrimination will be always there. It's just that how we deal with that discrimination, how we face it. Okay, so that is what something you need to consider. If you are able to face it rightly, you have flexibility, then yes, it's okay. But if you think that no, you cannot handle that discrimination, you cannot take on all this thing, you better check on that and choose the right place to. Some environmental factors like extreme weather. So countries like Ireland and Canada, they have sometimes extreme weather. I did came to know from some of my friends in those countries that they don't even see the sun for 3 to 4 months in a row, and they are very cold temperature there. So if you have like health conditions which are like your arthritis or some knee pain, knee joints pain, and joints pain, yeah, you have to be very careful. It will get worse. Okay. Some consideration is about the geographical safety. So, for example, some of the areas or some countries are very prone to maybe earthquake or tsunamis. So now, based on whatever experiences we have so far, you can easily do the study and choose the right locations. Okay. So those are the factors that you should be considering. Of course, there might be many factors that you may have, your personal, but these are the broadly factors that you should be considering before you choose the job abroad. Okay. So with that slide, I am going to stop talking. Now I'm going to have a chat session and interaction session with you. So I'm starting with the question and answer. So I think we have a chat box there, right? So if you have any question, you can either put a question in the chat box or you can unmute yourself and talk. So Dr. Somani, what
Yeah.
do you think?
So, Mr. Jitendra Mahajan, it was really wonderful insights what you have given, and there are certain questions which have come to me personally. So I would be putting some questions to you one by
Sure.
one, and let us discuss these questions, because I'm understanding that there are it's always a apprehension in the minds of students. Particularly, students are interested to go abroad for education, but particularly making their career abroad is always a matter of worry for them. And that's why the first question, I'll just read from the chat box. The first question is coming from Tanvi Karve. Tanvi is saying, she's asking, job prospects after masters in Canada, which roles to expect? Okay. How does this change if I go for PhD immediately after masters? She's asking about Canada. I mean, after PhD, what would be the job prospects in Canada? That is what our question is. So you please, over to you.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Thank you for question that, Tanvi. So for if you are looking for the job in Canada, and particularly after your master's or the PhD, you should be easily looking for the job level at manager or senior manager level. Okay, because if it is PhD, is definitely you should not be going for any like lower level position. It doesn't matter whether it's your Indian PhD or overseas PhD. Does that answer your question?
I think yes. I mean, what you have said is it seems right. Okay. I have another question from her only. I'll continue the question. Am I audible to you?
Yes, yes, yes. Please go ahead.
A lot of choices are available for masters. Okay, she has mentioned many choices. Does ease of getting a job depend on which master you choose? For example, if you do masters in chemistry, cognosy, ecology, epidemiology, etc., etc. So our question is,
Mhm.
does ease of getting job depend on the you choose, and which one is the best from industry point of view? I mean, in which
Okay.
area we should do masters? Yeah.
Okay, okay. So yeah, definitely, yeah, it's your individual choice. First thing, what is your liking, you should be doing your masters into that, right? But from the industry point of view, yeah, there are many. Okay, so I can share with you some like rough percentage in different fields. So if you are doing your masters in something like pharmaceutics or a drug dosage related processing area, you have higher chances to get job into the manufacturing and or quality control area, right? If you do your masters in the legals or the compliance area, yeah, the chances to get the job in the regulatory. But you know, if you take an example of a typical pharmaceutical industry, the 60 to 70% people comes from the manufacturing, right? And the rest 30 to 40 are from the support function or other functions. So then, yeah, your job prospectus become that percentage as so. So you have to be careful when you are choosing your PhD. If you are really looking from the job perspective, yeah, I suggest you should be doing something related to the manufacturing. But if you are looking as per your likings, then yeah, you go ahead. You will definitely get job somewhere. It's just that you need to find the right place and right time. Okay.
Uh, yeah.
So
So
yeah.
just to continue your question, I mean, what I
Mhm.
understand from this question. Generally, we say that R&D opportunities are much more in abroad rather than those are in India. And so people
Mhm.
feel that if I am a research material, I should do masters and PhD and go for research abroad. Whereas manufacturing, marketing, sales, everything I should do in India. That is the general, perception in the mind of the people. And you are
Okay.
suggesting that for manufacturing purpose, one should go for Sutix and all that. So can you just throw a light on this research part also?
Yes. Okay. So as during my slide, I did mention also that there are very few scientists who are actually joining the pharma industry as a career and as a job. So definitely, there is a shortage of scientists in the pharma industry. So if you are pursuing your PhD, you should not be worrying for the job in the pharmaceutical industry. So please go ahead and do in the research and yeah, research and development. There are many jobs available. Okay, so just to support my this statement, recently we hired two scientists from India, Bangalore, for my own company, straight directly from India. So it was on the job portal, company job portal, this advertisement, and those people applied, and then we just hired them via the Zoom interview and all those things, and they straightway show up now here and started working. So this is one example, but I'm just saying to you that yeah, if you are a PhD and if you want to do in R&D, yeah,
Okay,
it's
there is
easy.
another.
Yeah, you can go ahead for that.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So there is a question from Himanshi, and she's asking that it is said that the competition level in India is more as that in abroad. Due to this, will we receive a better career further after completion of B Pharmacy? I mean, our question is that competition level in India is more than in abroad, and so probably opportunities are also more. So, what is your typical view on this point?
Yeah, okay. So if you are talking about the graduation, I mean the bachelor's undergraduation that we are talking about, bachelor's of degree in pharmacy, I would, based on my experiences, if you just finish that bachelor's and you're looking for the job in abroad, the chances are very low. Just yeah, I'm very honest with you and very candid. The reason for that is the graduate, pharmacy graduate from India, and also in overseas, there are many graduates as well as the diploma holders in overseas countries, they do start with the same level of job. So if you do just a graduation, a bachelor's degree, and look for the job, so now you are in the competition with the overseas diploma holders as well as the basic degree holders in overseas. So your competition is very high. But then, yeah, you have a limited number of the jobs, right? So that is the condition. But if you go higher there, right, you do M pharmacy or you do the PhD, then when you enter into the overseas market, you have very less competitor. And that's why your chances of getting the job is higher.
Okay, okay. Another very interesting question has come that do we have to appear for any exam if we pursue our master's or PhD in India and wanted to work abroad? Any examination for work?
Okay, so for work, no, there is no work examination. The only thing is you have to prove that you have completed your master's in English, right? So some of the countries like Malaysia, their education, the university education is in their local language, the Bahasa Malaysia language. So when those people want to apply for a job in Singapore or even USA, they have very limited chances or no chances at all. But our India is different story. We have most of the post graduation, I mean, the masters is in English or even the bachelor's in English. So we should not be having a problem for Indian students.
Okay, that's great. So Vaibhavi is asking that what is the job scenario due to COVID situation now, particularly in Singapore?
Okay, good. Thank you for asking that question. Yes. So, as you know, the world economy is really going down because of this current situation. And not only the company that I'm working with, but the other pharma companies here almost declare no hiring for the till the end of the period, in end of this year, right? So no external hiring. So whatever they have, they want to secure their existing people people's job. So from that point of view, I would say that yes, definitely there is impact on the jobs that are not being created. The new jobs are not being created for the new job seekers, particularly in those companies at overseas at this moment. However, these things are not long lasting or permanent. So definitely they will end at some point of time. So the things will be normalized. But yes, at this moment, yes, the situation is impacted and there is impact on the jobs as well.
Yeah. So can you de-share your slides so that you can be seen, completely? Let's de-share your presentation.
Okay. Am I not visible? Yeah.
Yeah. One more question is there. In fact, my question, I will take with reference to some questions which have come from the student. I would like to ask you, JK, what motivated you to go to Singapore, all the way to Singapore? There are people go to Canada, USA, Germany, and nowadays many of my friends are in Korea also. But what motivated you to all the way to Singapore?
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. So for me, it's not about like I was like looking forward only for Singapore or something. Okay. So for motivation point of view, just to share with you, every one of you here, since you are the, the students, when I was students like you, I also had these dreams in my mind that I wanted to go to like overseas to work. But yeah, just to tell you that whatever you think, sometimes it may not work out. So in my mind, that time I was having two aspirations. First is to become a DI, drug inspector, or to go overseas for work. But definitely both of them didn't work out immediately after I completed my bachelor's degree, right? So I started whatever the available options were there, and then I was still trying to get one of these my aspirations. So one day I got opportunity. There was advertisement from the Singapore company, and that's applied because I do not want to lose any of the chance on this type of opportunity. And I applied, and yes, I got it. Fortunately, first attempt, yeah, I was selected. So, but my message to you all here is definitely you need to have some aspiration. You keep something in your mind, but not necessarily that they will be get fulfilled immediately after your whatever graduation or post graduation. You have to keep lookout. You have to adjust with the current circumstances, take whatever available options you have, and then look out for your aspirational things. Okay, so yeah, that will be my message. So my motivation was really that two aspirations that I had, and one was because of my father. He wanted me or his child to work in overseas, so that was additional boosting for me to look for the overseas job. So about Singapore, as I mentioned, there was no particular reason for Singapore. So it was I got a opportunity, but when I came to Singapore, yes, definitely there was a thought, why not should I look for the job in US or other countries? But then after working here in Singapore and considering all those factors that I mentioned, I find that Singapore is the best and the safest place for me to stay on and spend my life.
That's great. That's nice of your answer. Another question has come. Vijay Lonkar is asking, what is the opportunity for a fresher? Whether the freshers are directly hired into industry abroad or they have to, wait for some time.
Okay, so yeah, there are two-part answer for this. One part is if you are fresher and with just a bachelor's degree, is unlikely. Like I can say, is 0.003% of chances. Okay, unless you are very influential, that is the exception. But it's hard. I'm telling you upfront. Second part is, yeah, if you continue your degree, continue and complete your master's and take your PhD, even if you are fresher, yeah, you have potential chances to get a job in abroad without any Indian experience.
Okay, okay. There is very interesting question has come from Imanchi, and she's asking. I mean, that is a question always everybody would have in the mind. That after you take some job opportunities abroad, and if you wish to come back to home, okay, come back to India, do you really get absorbed well? What are the opportunities for such kind of people? What is your view on this?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Yeah, and I will speak based on my experience, right? So definitely you have opportunities. You will be very welcome by our home pharmaceutical companies, and you will be definitely a preferred candidate for them. But on the other fronts, so when we talk about you are now used to take foreign salaries, right? And you cannot expect the exactly same amount of salary back in home, back India, right? So it is very commonly known that you have to cut down your expectation by 30 to 40% for whatever you are taking abroad, right? So that's one thing. Second thing, countries like Singapore, here the taxation system is very low. So like I can say maximum that I'm paying the tax here is 8%, the maximum slab 8 to 10%. It starts from 6%, right? So and back in India is about 30%,
30%.
right, for the maximum. So you have to think from that point of view as well. Okay? So I did actually tried. I am not tried. I was, yeah, looking for the job in India, and I got opportunity in Bangalore as well. However, because of some of the personal issues and personal thing, I actually, yeah, did not pursue that opportunity. But yes, to answer your question, there is a possibility you can easily get the job back in India. However, you have to change your lifestyle, and you have to change your mindset in terms of getting your salary.
Okay, I mean,
Yes, right.
of course, a lot of as far as salary is concerned, Indian pharmaceutical companies are also giving handsome of salaries nowadays. But as you rightly mentioned, that one has to cut down the expectations because there will be always a difference into the currency rates also. Anyway, there is another interesting question has come from a student, probably a student. What is the interview process generally for the abroad recruitment? Is it different than
Okay.
Indian or so?
Oh, well, yes. So, okay. So what I can suggest to you that based on my experience, the interview process, they don't have multiple layers of interview. Um, Basically, one or two interview. That's it. What happens that when, okay, for example, if they want to hire people from India, there are two possible ways. They can either go to the placement agencies and they ask the placement agency to submit the applicants, and then they screen it and then call for the interview for the screen or the selected candidates. And on the day of interview, the representative from that company or organization will come down to the common place, which is either Chennai or Bangalore or Mumbai, which are mega city, and they will conduct the interview in a day, like 50 candidates in a day or 40 candidates in a day, and then next day they will give you the results. So that's normally the process if they are coming personally. Other way is they will also give application into the newspapers or, yeah, big newspapers, and people who are interested, they apply and they will call you via telephonic interview. They will conduct the telephonic interview first. If they find the candidate is suitable, then they will ask you to come personally to that country and appear for the interview. And it is based on the, I mean, it will be affordable by the company, or all expenses will be bear by the company. So there's no problem with that. So
Okay,
generally, yeah, these are the process.
these are the, yeah. So you, since you have worked into 3-4 different kinds of companies, multinational companies, there is a question has come that what are the companies which one can look for, which are having better prospects, or best companies you can see globally?
Yeah. So, okay, for that, there is no difficult answer for that. You can actually go to the Google or website and see which are the top pharmaceutical industry. And most of the top pharmaceutical industry, you can choose any of them and your career will be safe and secure. So there is no problem with that. So I will just take some names here. If you're looking for, you have Novartis, you have Pfizer, GSK, uh, Roche, you have Sanofi. Yeah, these are major players, MSD. But if you are looking for only biotech or biologics related, then yes, Amgen is there, Novo Nordics is there, AbbVie is there. So yeah, few renowned companies that they are available in the market.
So as you mentioned biotech, I understand that in the view of this COVID, a lot of biotechnology companies have come into picture working on the vaccine and many other aspects. So do you feel that biotechnology is going to be a next future industry in pharmaceutical field?
Thank you. This is my interested topic. Okay. So, okay. So for biotech, if you are really, okay, my advice, if you are keen and able to get a chance to join a biotech industry as your career, it is very safe path for your life. Okay. This industry will not go down in near like next few decades. The reason for that is the new technologies are coming in this field. So for example, in the past, we used to have the cell culture process, right? That used to take 18 days or 20 days to come out the first batch of that proteins or whatever the product, right? Now it is so fast, the technology is advancing so fast that every 3 day, every 1 day, the batch is coming out, right? So the technology really improvising. And then next stage of this particular process is the gene therapy. That is something is yet to come. They are still in the early stage or development stage, but once it comes to the commercial uh, manufacturing processes, then it will have another life of 20 to 30 years. So if you are really looking and keen into the biotech or biopharma industry, without like hesitation, by closing your eyes, just jump in.
So just a question out of my mind. You know, here in India, I being from academics, you know, we always work for industry institute interaction, industry academia tie-up. So my question to you is it the same kind of culture, or can you throw some light if you have faced it or experienced
Yeah,
it in
right.
Singapore, where academic institutions and industry have come closer, tied up, and given that experiential learning to the students? Because as when we were student, you agree, when we were student, we never get exposed to this kind of industrial exposure kind of thing. I mean, almost 25 years back. So what is your experience, particularly with reference to Singapore?
Right. So yes, the things are changing. I don't know about India's current situation, but particularly in Singapore and in US, what is happening is the company, okay, this is initiative from government. Basically, the government is asking universities to get tied up with the pharmaceutical plants here. And every year we are getting about 12 to 13 people in each pharma company as an industrial attachment students. So we call them ANT, attachment and trainees, right? So these ants, we are actually every year we are getting 12 to 13 ants from each university, and yeah, they are working with us for 18 months. During these 18 months, they were being paid by government. Okay, and yes, they are paid by government. So it is beneficial for any pharmaceutical company that they are getting a labor with no cost at all, right? And that is why it is more attractive program. So
But
on the other side,
I'll break you here. Just we are
sure.
continuing the discussion. I'll break you here. You said 18 months, right? I mean, it will be wrong on my part to ask this question on this platform. But in the interest of the student community, I have to be honest also with the profession. My question is, in India also it is mandatory to undergo 3 months training for the student in third year B Farm. But as you will agree with me, and many of us, pharmaceutical industry just give the certificate, and the student do barely, I mean, rarely get the experience to work. So is the same situation there?
No, absolutely no, absolutely no. I'm having two industrial attachment with me now at this moment, and I'm giving them a equal exposure as I give to the normal employee. They are part of our workforce. They are part of our manufacturing. They get trained same as our normal employee gets trained, because they have checks at every like 6 months. They have checks with them, with their lecturers back at school, that what they learn, and they have to give the
Report.
progress report. Yeah, the progress report, and that is also being authorized and approved by their mentor, which is the hiring manager in the pharmaceutical company. So that is how this is very serious matter here. This is not, I mean, they are expected to come to the site and workplace every day, same as normal employee. They get benefits same as normal employee, and they are expected to work same as normal employees. There is no any difference between normal employee and this industrial attachment students.
I mean, it is a very serious affair, you mean to say?
Yes, it is very
Yeah,
serious
because
affair.
yeah, in our case, in certain, I mean, not all industry in India, but in many of the industry, when there are big brands, they themselves do not want to give that exposure to the students, and they simply ask them to, finish the activity in no time. This is the
No.
unfortunate part, but then.
Yeah, so it's different in Singapore. No, definitely it's different. The culture and the mindset here is different. Yeah.
Okay, so you were talking about this academia industry interaction, right? So apart from this, is there any internship kind of thing? Paid internship is there, or some
Yes.
other opportunities for the student community?
Yes. So this 18 months that I was talking is after they complete their degree graduation, right? Degree or graduation. There is another part of the industrial attachment, which is a 6-month industrial attachment. So before they complete their graduation, the last year before they submit, let's say if it is a 4 years program, after third year they have to attach with the industry, and the program for their 4th year is 6 months with the industry and 6 months just academics. So some students do 6 months before and some students do 6 months later. So depending on the university's program, they do. So yes, so that's 6 months, and plus those who wants to continue after their graduation, there is another 18 months. So they get about like 2 years of experience even before going out and seeking for the other job.
Okay, okay. So what is the salary? People are asking, what is the first salary for the fresher? I mean, as you have said already, freshers are generally not recruited. But what is the general salary package in Singapore or maybe abroad?
You mean, okay, so I don't know whether should I just give you the direct numbers that will be helpful, or it's comparison between the normal employee who is getting employed and the students getting employed. So which way
Yeah,
that you want me?
I think, I mean, considering that a student has done masters in India and he is being treated as a fresher candidate there. So what is
Okay.
generally starting salary package.
Okay, so if it is a master's, okay, that's where it's different. If it is a master's from India or master from any country and seeking the job, I would suggest that you should not be getting or taking anything less than 6,000 Singapore dollars. Okay, so 6,000 Singapore dollar. Why I'm saying that? Because in order to get your family visa, you have to have more than 5,500 Singapore dollar salary here.
Okay. Okay.
So it is recommended to have a 6,000 Singapore dollar salary, which is being given by broadly by all pharmaceutical companies also.
In any domain, if he's working in manufacturing, QA, QC, any domain?
Yes, any domain. There is no difference here. For manufacturing, you have high salary, or other department, you have less salary. No.
It is not like that. Acha. So my personal question, in my personal organization interest, do your company do the kind of collaborations with the academic institutions abroad?
Yes, we do. You mean abroad, other than Singapore?
See, I mean, abroad means we are abroad for you now, for that matter.
Yes, correct. So yes, we do have, but unfortunately not with India. We have a tie-up with MIT in US. So we do get the people, student from MIT, and they are as a trainee with us. So last year I used to have one trainee from MIT.
Acha. So why you did not look for any of the good institutions in the country, in India particularly? There are many.
Oh, okay. So that is not thought yet.
Okay.
We will look forward that. Yeah.
Certainly. I mean, a lot of questions, whatever questions have come, I have already asked you. There are one or two questions related to education. How is the education culture in Singapore? Pharmacy education culture, that was, I mean, 2-3 questions. If you are aware about it, you can throw some light on that, and then we'll close the discussion.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so pharmacy education is not different than India here. It's exactly, I have gone through the module and the course structure. It's exactly same topics that we do cover in India. It's just that some of contents of our masters in pharmacy in India is also being covered in bachelors in pharmacy over here. So a little bit broader than our Indian course structure. So I can roughly say that when we say that we are graduated masters in pharmacy in India is equal to the graduate or bachelors in Singapore.
Yeah. I mean, I have some few friends at National University of Singapore, and the same feedback I got from there. Okay. So I think you have almost answered each and every question of ours. The audience was also interactive, and a lot of questions they pushed in, because the topic itself was very interesting, that everybody wanted to go abroad. Just last question for a summary and the close-up. What is a message you would like to give the student community when you look back to your own life 25 years or 20 years down the line? What message you would like to give to the student community for getting becoming a good professional? I am not asking this question for getting a job in abroad, but for a good professional, what are the qualities one should have?
Sure. Yeah. So, okay, I won't be very lecturer type of person here in responding this. This is based on my experiences and how I look people and getting successful. So, okay, I'm very fortunate and delighted to say that every Indian, whoever comes abroad, is really hardworking person and really outstands with the other people in abroad. So I have no doubt about that. So we all are hardworking people, right? So doesn't matter whichever area or whichever field of our industry you will go in abroad, just continue your hard working. That's first thing. Second thing is your attitude, right? So your positive attitude matters a lot. Here in abroad or in even in USA, they prefer people who think out of the box. Doesn't matter whether it's against the line of the management talk or not. But if it is as long as it's out of box thinking, they accept it, they welcome it, right? So that is another thing that I would say, that always look for something different than the normal flow or normal process. So these are the two things that I would say that want to give the message to the students, that don't do any exceptional thing, or don't try to achieve any additional thing also. Just continue whatever you are doing and be realistic whatever you are doing, and truthful. That's honesty and truthful is always being admired in many pharmaceutical companies. So hiding or false or lying is definitely not going to be helpful. Nobody will tolerate that. So yeah, that's few messages. Yeah, that's it.
That's really wonderful. What I have noticed is the hardworking, positive attitude, and most importantly, out of box thinking. These are the
Yes,
three things which you would like to communicate to the students that they should
that's
carry
right.
forward for being a good professional. So thank you so much, JK. I should say that you could spare your valuable time all the way from Singapore on this Saturday morning with all
No
of us
problem.
and have enlightened all of us. And we look forward for such kind of interaction, many more on the different
Sure,
areas.
my
Yeah,
pleasure.
yeah, certainly.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
so
Thank you,
thank you
Dr.
so much.
Somani, and thank you everyone who are on call, yeah, for your time and listening to me and giving me opportunity to talk to you. So yeah, it was very wonderful session. Thank you for your questions and have a good day for everyone.
Thank you for your time also, and it was pleasure on our part also. Thank you so much,
Thank
and
you.
we are
Bye
closing the
bye.
session. Okay, thank you.
Sure. Bye.
Bye bye. Bye.